All right, buddy. Welcome back. Episode 10 of the Doc Man Diet Podcast. Hope everybody's enjoying them so far. I appreciate all the positive feedback I've been getting, all the questions. People texting me, people going on Instagram, asking questions. Love it. Love the feedback. Please feel free to subscribe. Like, the podcast is now on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify, YouTube. Let's keep this thing rolling. Okay. This week's topic is going to be the carnivore diet. For those of you who haven't heard what the carnivore diet is, it is what it sounds like. Basically eating nothing but meat, fish, eggs, turkey, chicken, deer, elk, moose, you name the animal. If it moves and you could eat it and cook it, you can eat it on this diet. So that's what this diet is all about. And what this diet portends, what this diet claims, is that animal meat and animal products, they have all the essential nutrients that we need in their bodies through what they eat to supply us with all the essential nutrients that we need. They also, followers of this diet, once again, I'm not supporting these claims wholeheartedly. I'm just saying what they claim, so I can pass the information on to you. They also say that plant food, namely vegetables and fruits, they're living beings too, right? And they have a self-defense mechanism in terms of being poison and hard to digest. Now, again, you could say that lobsters have their own self-defense mechanism. They have claws. Are we meant to eat them? Well, that's where the debate lies. But basically, again, they're saying that because fruits and vegetables are living beings and they don't move, they can't fight you, they kind of just grow there, their only self-defense mechanism is to have anti-nutrients and, semi-poisonous aspects that prevent people from digesting them. Now, again, not supporting these claims wholeheartedly. I'm just saying this is where this whole carnivore movement comes from. Now, some people actually do fantastic on carnivore. There's a famous philosopher, public figure, Jordan Peterson. He has suffered with autoimmune disease. His daughter had terrible autoimmune disease. She had I think 30 surgeries by the age 30, something insane. She switched to an all carnivore diet and has since been doing phenomenal. And so is he with his mental health illness. So he still suffers from it from time to time, but they're claiming that by removing the fruits and vegetables, removing the anti-nutrients, their autoimmune conditions have improved drastically. Now, can people do well on the carnivore diet? Yes, absolutely. Anytime you take somebody who's going from eating the standard American diet, which stands for SAD, S-A-D, that's what SAD stands for, Standard American Diet. But I think it's funny that the Standard American Diet in acronym form is SAD because it's pretty freaking sad. Standard American Diet is fast food, fried food, hoagies, sandwiches, soda, juices, trans fats, sugar, snacks, crackers, you name it, really unhealthy, right? That's why 3/4 of Americans are overweight, and there's a diabetes, obesity epidemic ravaging the country right now because of the Standard American Diet. So when you go from eating the SAD diet to eliminating all those processed foods and sugars and processed carbohydrates and bad fats and bad oils, then yeah, you're going to feel better. Whether it's carnivore you're doing that on, or whether you're eliminating bad food on vegan or keto or any of the diets talked about so far, when you go from eating like an average American to eating smartly and kind of taking a more conscious approach to your diet, you're going to feel better. You're going to do good for a short while. The trick is, though, is this diet sustainable and can you do well on it long term? And that's what we're here to discuss today. Okay. So like I said, you can do well on the carnivore diet for a short time, but the other side of the coin of these restrictive diets is it's really going to limit you in your options. Okay. And it's going to make you a little extreme. some people like to, become wrapped up in the diet and it becomes their identity. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. But I want to talk about carnivore tonight in case you've heard of it and you're thinking about trying it. Let's talk about the top 5 problems with it that you should be aware of before you go ahead and try it. Okay. So, problem number 1 is that the carnivore diet at this point has absolutely no research done on it whatsoever. Even the most popular and staunchest proponent of it, Dr. Shawn Baker, who's a medical doctor who tried this diet years ago and fell in love with it, even he admits that there isn't any research on it yet. Now, he's actively trying to recruit people to become part of a case study, but at this point, it's his anecdotes, and one man's anecdotes is not something to base results off of and give recommendations off of. And because there's no studies on it, there's no long-term follow-up. And he even admits that he hasn't had any blood work taken. Now, he says he's doing great, feels great, doing better than ever. But again, him being a medical doctor, he's smart enough. He realizes we need to start getting some studies done for this in order to actually be able to have it hold some weight within the scientific community. Problem number 2 with the carnivore diet, in my opinion, is that there's something to be said about fruits and vegetables, and you're not getting any of the benefits of fruits and vegetables when you do the carnivore diet because you're not going to be eating any of them. Now, they contain a lot of antioxidants that have proven to be anti-cancer effects, better for brain health, better for overall body composition, metabolism, gut health, you name it. There's a lot of benefits to fruit and vegetables that you're missing out on. Now, the whole link between red meat and cancer is definitely overblown in the context of a regular diet where you are eating fruits and vegetables, where you are having those antioxidants to protect against the colon cancer that you may be at risk for when you're consuming a lot of red meat. Now, I said the link is overblown in the context of a regular diet, but if you're eating 4 to 5 steaks per day, then guess what? You're not going to have that colon cancer protection. So you could be setting yourself up for some risk later on. The other problem is that there's a lot of iron in red meat. And iron toxicity is nothing to play around with. That could lead to liver failure, which can lead to death. Okay. So if you're going to do the carnivore diet, you got to be smart. You got to watch your levels. You have to get blood work. You got to be careful you don't develop iron deficient or iron toxicity because, like I said, that's not something you want to be, careless about. You got to keep an eye on that. Problem number 3 with the carnivore diet, in my opinion, is that I just can't imagine eating the same damn flavor over and over again. Me personally, I love sweet food. I love sweet. I love that flavor. You can't get that on the carnivore diet. It's just salt, pepper, and meat over and over and over again. Now, don't get me wrong. I love those flavors too, but I need some variety. And I feel like this would drive me crazy. And any diet that's going to drive you crazy, because it's driving me crazy. There's 100,000 people, million people out there who feel the same way I do. It's going to drive them crazy too. So I always hesitate to recommend a diet that's so restrictive that it causes mental issues and extreme cravings. Now, that's why I haven't tried this diet yet. I've been interested in it because I've had some friends who've tried it and have had some pretty interesting results health-wise, but I just can't get over not having any sweet in my life. Maybe if I did try it, I would finally get over this lifelong sugar addiction and sugar craving, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll get there. But something that is also keeping me from doing it is reason number 4, and problem number 4 that I have with the carnivore diet is that in order to truly do it the right way and truly be healthy, you need to eat nose to tail of the animal. What does that mean? That means you're eating organs as well. Now, it is true, or there is some scientific backing to the fact that an animal product does contain all the micronutrients that we need, but that assumes we're eating the organs. I'm talking the heart, the liver, sometimes the brain, the kidneys. Grossed out yet? Yeah, so am I. I've never eaten any of that stuff. And I know it's just social conditioning telling me that that stuff is gross. I'm sure if I had it prepared by a restaurant and well done by a chef who knew how to season it and do it well, I'd probably enjoy it. Oh, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't, but I'm never going to be able to learn how to first find those meats because they're not in the grocery store. They've basically been pushed out of society, even though it was, normal back in our grandparents' time. But even if I do find those meats, how am I going to prepare them on a regular basis to ensure I'm getting all those micronutrients I need? The short answer is I'm not. And if I do, it's going to become extremely difficult. So that's another reason that this diet is a problem. So even if I could stomach it, I don't know where I can get them, and I don't know how I'm going to prepare it. And I don't know if I trust myself to be eating organ meats. I would need it to be prepared professionally by a chef. And again, if I'm doing that, who has the money and time for that anyway? All right. So the problem with the carnivore diet, probably the biggest one in my opinion, is that you are missing nutrients if you're not eating all the organs. Now you could supplement, but I've already talked about how supplements are not nearly as bioavailable as the actual true source. So again, if you're not doing nose to tail, if you're not getting all those organ meats in this diet, you're really missing out on some micronutrients. Now, reason number 5, I can't really recommend this diet right now is because of all the diets I've discussed so far in this podcast, between vegan, vegetarian, keto, and now carnivore. Carnivore has to be by far the most limiting and tough to deal with. Like I just talked about, where you're going to find organ meats. Not only that, there's only one thing you could eat. I don't see any restaurants providing a carnivore diet. I see them providing keto. I see them providing vegetarian, vegan, paleo, whatever the case may be. There right now, as it stands, there aren't any restaurants providing carnivore. You could say, let's go to a barbecue joint, but guess what? They're going to put sugar and sauce on it. It's going to be served with cornbread and beans and coleslaw. Not to mention having trouble finding food on your own, but let's think about social events, right? You're gonna go to a wedding and not eat or drink, just eat the steak and that's it. You're gonna go out to eat. I mean, I guess you could go to cookouts and have fun there, but then what are you just gonna be going out and having fun in the summertime, not doing anything the rest of the year? Not a really sustainable approach, right? So in summary, the top 5 problems: number 1, no research; number 2, missing out on some fruits and vegetables, all those benefits; number 3, you're getting the same flavor over and over and over again, which drives me crazy; number 4, you have to eat nose and tail, which is kind of gross and inconvenient; and number 5, just really restrictive, really limiting. Now, overall, I don't think this diet is as crazy as it may sound on the surface, but it has to be done right. And right now, I really can't recommend it because, scientifically speaking, there are no studies on it. There is no long-term follow-up. I get the evolutionary basis for it because I'm sure there were times in our evolution where we only had to survive on meat. So our bodies can adapt to a lot of things. But right now, if I'm being objective, can't approve it. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. Once again, we are on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube. Please keep giving me feedback. I appreciate all of it. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.